Hi everyone, I'm Kathy Dawson and welcome to Can You Relate? This is Cleveland's relationship show. If you've been tuning in, you know that this is a show designed for you and all of your relationships, whether it's your relationship with your spouse or your kids or your coworkers or your friends. This show is here to help you. I actually recommend that you watch the show with paper and pencil because we're going to be providing you with all kinds of information and resources. Later in the show, we're going to talk about what is it like to live in Northeast Ohio in gray weather and what can happen with anxiety and depression. So you'll want to stay tuned for that. But first, I'm going to introduce you to someone who actually makes a living out of teaching people how to be happy. So let's get started. You know, how you feel can really affect your relationships. And some people seem to be naturally happy, and some people don't seem to be naturally happy. So I'm going to talk to Jim Smith today. Welcome to the show. You are the executive happiness coach, and you tell people that we need to practice happiness. What does that mean?
Well, just like if you were engaging in some kind of a fitness program, you would have to practice. You know, if you want to run a marathon, you practice running. If you want to bulk up, you have to practice lifting weights. Well, you have to think of your emotions all as muscles as well.
Okay.
And the ones you work out get stronger, and the ones you don't pay as much attention to get weaker and atrophy. And so many times, simply to be happier, what you have to do is work on building up strength in some of the positive emotion muscles.
So for someone who it doesn't come naturally, now for me I must say I'm kind of happy, you know, but some people just, it's more difficult. How do you help them do that? I mean, what do you say to them? What do you give them? Do you give them tools to be happy?
Right. Again, to use the personal trainer analogy, if you went to a gym, they would say, okay, well, let's start with 5-pound weights and then move up to 10 and 15 with the emotions. What we're going to do is we're going to start with small things you can do on a regular basis, practices you can engage in.
Okay.
One of my favorite and one of the most powerful tools is something called a gratitude journal. And that's where you simply write down every day 3 positive things that have happened in your life or 3 good things that have happened in the past 24 hours.
Do you recommend you start your day this way? Like you get up and do that, or?
Starting your day is a good way to, kick off with some optimism. There's also a lot of research that shows that when you do it right before you go to bed at night, you do it right before you drop off, and then it can actually increase how much positivity shows up in your dreams.
Really?
Yeah.
So does that affects the brain chemistry before you go to bed, or I mean, I don't know if that has anything.
Well, it's not so much about brain chemistry, it's about brain attention. Okay. If every day you look at the ground and you only listen to the things that are going wrong and people dying in wars, that's what you're going to notice. But if every day you practice paying attention to good things, positive things, after a while you start to notice them more often, and you get that good feeling, which starts to feed into itself, and then you're starting to look for more positive things in the world.
So it feeds on itself. So the endorphins
It's
start
an upward
building.
spiral.
I never heard that about before you go to bed. They always tell you don't watch the news. Sorry, this is TV, but you're not supposed to watch the news before you, or read something negative. So that makes complete sense.
Right.
Anything else? This is really a good idea.
Well, there are dozens of practices you can engage in and lots of resources. Another thing that I tend to focus people on is that while emotions often just happen, some people say, I can't control my emotions.
Reactionary, right.
Maybe you can't control that the emotions are occurring, but once they are occurring, you can do much to actually manage how they impact you. Okay. And one of the most powerful tools that you own is your breath, Kathy. It's your breath.
Which, by the way, I hold a lot.
Well,
which maybe is
that's a bad practice.
Right, I know.
Right? Because when you hold your breath, what happens is you move all the energy in your body kind of up here, and then you're like all in anxiety and worry, right? And stiffness. Right. So if I were to have you right now, for instance, just kind of sit up tall.
Okay.
And just kind of breathe.
Tight, right?
Right, you're tight here. And breathe into your deep belly here. Really breathe down deep into your body. Okay. And what do you notice happen?
That feels good.
Doesn't it feel good, right?
No.
So just imagine if every day you took a couple of minutes to do that, or did it for maybe 1 minute 3 times a day. After a while, you'd train your body to be able to come back in from here, anxiety and worry and fear, and come back to more of a calm,
centered
feeling
Okay, listen,
where
Jim,
you can access happiness.
I have to believe that all this stuff then impacts you, which then impacts your relationships, because you bring yourself wherever you go.
Absolutely.
And we have to have you back, because we just got to the tip of the iceberg.
We did.
So if you want to get happy, so they say, you want to get a hold of Jim Smith, and you can do that by going to his website, theexecutivehappinesscoach.com. Jim, thank you so much for being here.
It's been a pleasure. Keep breathing.
Thank you. Stay tuned. We'll be back with more of Can You Relate?
Up next, you just heard how to be happy, but what if you need a bit more help? We'll share how to chase away the midwinter blues, naturally. And later in the show, he's a good dog who's had bad experiences. We'll help you rehabilitate the one you rescued.